wide shot of the pavilion. Still looking an absolute treat. Don't know how.
That's why we get paid the big bucks.
It is indeed. We actually were seeing the last vestiges of sun-kissed Mooney Ponds as the sun sinks below the horizon. That's outside the shoulder of Adit.
And it's Majib in again. This one straightens and it's just knocked to point for a single. And Das moves on to Tanzad moves on to 5. Das to face now.
Apologies, Adit. I think we might have missed out on some tweets there at the end of the previous over, but it is a spinner, so if you can, do you want to hold them back till the end of the next over? Is that okay?
Well, no, it's just Mog being attention-seeking. Talk more about how awesome the jinglers are.
Right arm over the wicket into Das, and this one knocked to the mid-wicket fielder. No run.
You're a brave man, laying down the gauntlet to Mog, that's all I'll say. It's a man with a weaponry at home.
And again, sort of knocked to mid-on where there would be a fielder, but there's not, so long on runs into field that, and it is a single. Tanzad moves on to, or Das moves on to 10, Tanzad on 5, and 4 in the extras column already.
That sweeper fielder seemed to have more of an orange hat on. I think he bought his own.
And this one sort of straightens towards the off stump and knocked out to the fielder for no run.
I thought for a moment he got that a little bit aerial, but...
it's the top spinner, that one.
It's the top spinner.
And that one doesn't straighten up.
Him.
That one doesn't straighten up, and it knocks into the pads. Big appeal by the fielding side as the batsman sort of falls over. Umpire says no, and there's a conversation.
Suggestion of a bit high.
I think what the captain there might be thinking there was a bit of bat in it.
Okay.
I think that's what that one means.
Okay. The internationally accepted code.
This one delivered into wide outside off stump and just knocked out to the big wicket fielder again for no run. And 2 off it, 1 leg by and a single as Bangladesh move on to 19 for none.
Anything else to add, Adit?
Go to the socials.
Just a little bit of food chat on YouTube. Something about salt and shake. Good fun. From Nick Vickers. Good fun, but there would always be one crisp at the bottom of the bag with 80% of the salt.
Oh, that's the good one, though.
Nick also adds, I like to call the 100 Crisp Cricket. The snack-based sponsors are the only way I can distinguish between the teams.
Yeah, I feel with salt and shake, playfulness, a bit like Muller yogurt corners, and people do quite like a bit of playfulness, but if there's no adhesive material to the surface, then what's the salt going to cling to? That's the reason that the salt's baked in the first place.
So you got to go through and lick all the chips and put them back in the bag.
Pretty much,
then put your salt in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, it gives you something to do during morning break.
So it's Fazal again. Going left arm around the wicket to Das. That one's fired in good length to the outside of stump.
Ooh, maybe.
And knocked out to the extra cover fielder as they go through for a quick single, and it's thrown in, and
it's going to be tight.
That is going to be tight as it takes the stumps. The Afghan side believe. They believe. They're all high fives. We've gone upstairs.
I think it's an absolutely line call with a naked eye. I mean...
Looked good for me. Looked in for me.
Looked in?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you might well be right, but I think the on-field umpire would, in normal circumstances, without any DRS, have called it in because it's so tight. But let's have a look.
And the direct hit...
He's out.
He is out.
By 3 inches.
Well, I'd say...
Maybe
I know
two.
the first frame where you can see the zing bails off, so it's struck between frames. The bat is on the white line, so maybe he's sort of running 10 millimetres short there, but that is out.
The direct hit as ever. Now, we were just saying, weren't we, at the start of the programme, you don't see so many direct hits anymore. Anyway, let's jingle up the out.
After you've gone.
Yeah, indeed, and it's also going back to what we were saying about chasing the run rate and maybe worry about the win first.
Yeah.
Because 19 for 1 off 4 overs, the run rate is great. But I mean, that wasn't too silly a call.
No, it was it was only a couple of inches. I mean,
It was the direct hit. Without the direct hit, that was easily in. So it was.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at the stats, but I wonder how often the direct hit, what the percentage chance to that particular shot would have been. You would think, well, how often would he hit directly? Maybe once in 5 or 6, would you say?
I wouldn't know.
It's hard to know, isn't it?
It's hard to know.
It's sure there's less than it once.
WinViz probably has that in its calculator somewhere. So it's Jason Mraz coming in at number 3. Mahidi Hassan Mraz for Bangladesh.
There's a proliferation of icons floating around on the screen next to him.
Yes. To face the second ball of this 5th over. And Fazal fires that one into the leg stump, and it's just helped on its way down backwards a square leg, and the deep backwards square leg fielder picks that up, throws that back in, and they just jog through for the single.
So you see on the scorecard there it says Fazal wicket in the on against his name, and that's obviously not true, but how else would you mark it, I suppose?
Well, I think that's just the delivery.
Indicating
It's
the delivery result.
What happened?
The
the delivery result. So we're just having another look again, and it was. I thought it was actually the batter who'd faced was the one run out, but he was sent back when he was halfway down the pitch.
So he'll feel doubly sore.
Fazal in again. That one's fired into the leg stump at about hip height and helped around the corner down to short fine leg where it's fielded. Trot through for the single. Move on to 21.
You always get that a bit of a nightmare as a scorer, particularly again in the under-12s, when say it's a wide and a stumped. What on earth do you put in that little box on the scorecard? There's just not enough room.
Yeah. Yes. So, Fazal again comes in.
Yeah, just come back to that in a moment.
And that one's just knocked out to cover, fielded.
Sometimes you see a situation where the batsman comes maybe 5 or 6 strides down the wicket and pulls out and absolutely throws his partner under the bus. He only actually came down a couple of strides there before what was presumably, hopefully, a clear no. But it was actually the guy who got ran out who came pelting down the wicket.
He was halfway down the wicket.
He was halfway down the wicket. Maybe, yeah.
Yes, and probably definitely the right call from the batsman because definitely would have been out. And another delivery from Fazal that is knocked past gully, and it's the deep backwards point. Fielder runs in, picks it up, fires that back in. They run through for a single.
A lot of these players are keeping the immaculate hair grooming despite the temperature. Fazal, who's bowling, it must be pretty sweaty by now, is copious amounts of product must have been applied because he looks immaculate still.
So I haven't used hair products since I was a teenager, but my recollection of it was always that I don't even think he's got that dry product in.
Yeah, he's got dry product, yeah.
And this one wide outside off stump, and there's an inside edge into the pads. A little bit of danger, but okay in the end. And that was the last ball of the over, so we'll go over to add it on social.
We have Motley saying, "Woof, morning peeps.
Woof woof.
Up a little early, surprisingly, today. Sausages in the oven. Not sure who to root for today. Again, not in the Australian sense. Probably Afghanistan as they are the newer ODI team. Who's everyone else backing?"
Well, it'd be nice to see Afghanistan get a win, but they won't from here. One senses.
Yeah, I don't think I've really got a dog in this fight. No,
Surely that's bloody in the cliche box, isn't it?
Yeah, and Majib comes in. That one, a full delivery on the leg stump, and just pushed it backwards square leg. And they run through for the single.
Yeah, no, I don't feel strongly either way. It's just nice to see a team get off,
Two teams that I'd like to see do well.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I think of maybe leaning towards Afghanistan, the underdog status and the narrative and the story of a side that's...
I don't know enough about the geopolitical situation with the cricket team with regards to the regime in Afghanistan to be able to comment with any knowledge whatsoever, but one obviously feels a little nervous straying into that area. I don't know if anyone's more knowledgeable than I about this matter.
Just Miraz with a forward defensive, no run. And then same delivery, same result comes up again. I know that they shut down the women's cricket, and that's there's a lot of going on with that one. That one nips back in on the batsman, but once again, just a back foot defensive, fielded to cover, no run. I do know that the regime were quite keen to. We just see this one, and again, this one sort of straightens up, and just blocked down into the pitch, no run. I know the regime were quite keen to bask in the reflected glory of the side, and there was a bit of that after the stuff went down with the women's team. There was a bit of resistance from the men for that, and a good line there, and straightens up, but it's just a little drive through mid on and taking the single there.
Well, that's kind of the point I was driving towards. You don't want to be part of supporting tyrannical regimes.
Yeah.
If it's a PR coup for them, then despite the players involved, probably rather Bangladesh one. Anyway, over to Ajit.
Motley replies again, Afghanistan actually have twice the chance of winning today. And you're right, there are indeed two teams that could do well.
They're playing in the
Asia Games final. I think that is on the verge of being rained out.
Yes, so we have that. Yep. And what's going on in the other game? We got anything on that while we wait for the Afghan side to straighten up their field?
South Africa 29 for 1, 3.4 overs. Temba Bavuma out for 10 after scoring 2 boundaries in quick succession.
They're going at it. So it's Fazal in again. This one forward defended out to Rashid in the cover. No run.
Yes, this is the first of 40 days of World Cup cricket. So congratulations if you see the whole thing through. I always try to see every game in a World Cup of soccer or football, depending where you are in the world. I can't say there'll be very few people who watched every ball of every cricket World Cup.
I think this one coming from wide outside the wicket, delivered in towards the batsman, who then drives through the covers out towards the boundary, but there is a fielder there chasing it down, and it's fired back, but they do get back for the third run. So Miraz now moves on to 5, Das on 13, Bangladesh 27 for 1.
Yeah,
I'd say Adam Collins or Jeff Lemon, quite possibly. I reckon Jeff's watched every ball.
Every ball of every game. Even if two were happening simultaneously, you go back and watch every ball.
Wouldn't surprise me.
On time shift.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then he could probably tell you about every ball of every as well. Mind like a steel trap, that guy.
It's impressive. I'm sort of working with you guys here. There it goes again. Come back to that after this ball.
Yeah, so Fazal at the top of his run. Good line, good length. Knocked to backward square leg, no run.
I think, in the pre-digital era, you could be sort of feeling quite smugly amongst your circle of friends that you knew a lot about a subject, which indeed you do, by the standards of your friendship groups. little knowing that there are vast numbers of people around the world, 10 times as much. And I think that's what I used to think I knew quite a bit about cricket. So I started working, say, with you guys, guerrilla cricket people, and you realise, I know 1/10 the amount.
And this next delivery is wide outside off stump, but it's a big inside edge into the middle stump, which goes flying into the leg stump, which goes flying towards the wicket keeper, and that is a wicket. That is Dus gone.
Yeah, Das is dust. He just tried to run it off the face, and almost gives him a bit of a send-off there, doesn't he? Yelling into his face. They're certainly wound up for this one. 2 early wickets. Well, hey, you never know.
Yep, I mean, after 6.4 overs, the run rate is starting to slow down a bit. The wickets, 2 already.
Yeah, we haven't got the direct comparison, but I'm pretty sure that
Afghanistan would have
been quite a way ahead for 1 wicket at this stage.
Yep. And the new batsman in is Shanto. Walks out to the crease.
Obviously.
Lime green handle on his bat.
It's lime green.
It's like
We've had limes and
slash
oranges.
of a highlight against his
limes, oranges, banana peel. We've had talk of butterscotch angel delight and strawberry flavour as well. It's been a very fruity broadcast.
He's got his little towel tucked into the back of his pants. Don't often see that on a batsman.
No, you don't often see it on a batsman. It's a tiny bit dangerous because sometimes right the way around the back it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't want the ball flicking that as it goes through.
Wondering if he had it on in the last innings and he's forgotten it's there.
It's quite possible.
No one's willing to tell him as he walked out, and everyone's back in the shed, just having a giggle at him.
Najmal Hossain Shanto.
And 2 is left in this Fazal over. There's 3 runs and a wicket from it so far. Shanto's first delivery. Fazal's going to come over the wicket for this one. A nice straight delivery and just a forward defensive into the pitch. No run.
Yeah, it looks a little nervous. There's obviously no need to be. They only need another 130 runs, and they've more or less got all the time in the world in which to get it. But, wickets do funny things to dressing rooms. We'll see what happens.
They do, yeah. I would expect the game to slow down somewhat here.
He was on the Das was on the march, wasn't he? He took 2 steps, but didn't seem to be quite in position. Perhaps his head wasn't quite there to deal with that ball. There's nothing extraordinary about the ball.
That wicket seems to have delivered some hope to the fans in the stands. And Fazal again in. Good line, good length, a little bit outside off, but just again defended out to mid-wicket for no run. And that is the Fazal over. And we'll go over and we'll check the socials.
Supun saying the confusion in the tweets has started. And also says that Afghanistan is also playing India in the Asian Games final, but going by the Cricket Info updates, the latest this game can restart after being delayed by rain is 5:18 local time, which is 22 minutes from now.
Right.
And that's not looking very optimistic.
I wonder what they do if they get a no result in that. So it's Mujib in now. And that one's just blocked back towards the bowler by Miraz, no run.
Going by how the tournament's been run, India will win gold medal by rankings.
By ranking. Fuller delivery there. And that's driven through the covers by Miraz, and that's going to go and go and go and go until it gets to the Toblerones. And
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he got plenty of dip on it. It was just too full. It was, in effect, with the big stride he took, it turned into a half volley.
Yep. So 31 for 2 now. Bangladesh. That's there. And this one's delivered again full outside off stump. And driven out through the covers, but the cover fielder is able to take care of that without a problem. No run. We turn around again. We come back. This one's fired in more towards the stumps. And the forward defensive shot ends up at mid-wicket and fielded for no run.
Yeah, Mujib not getting a huge amount of turn, but using his crease there, went wider on the crease, just looking to exploit some angles.
And this one's bowled fairly wide outside off stump, but it comes back in and it's just sort of deflected down towards the gully by the batsman, and they, after a little bit of indecision, decide that they're going to have a run there and managed to do so quite safely in the end.
Bit of a misfield, and having misfielded it, he tried to throw it to the bowler's end, but got it all wrong. Just having a look at the comparison there, Afghanistan were 47 for that loss, Bangladesh 32 for 2, but Afghanistan fell in a heap as a reminder late on in their innings.
And this last delivery of the over is just defended back to the bowler. And 2 for 2s.
Just a score update on the other game. The scoring has dried up for South Africa. They are 1 for 31 of 5.5 overs.
Couple of maidens.
And we have Nick Vickers on YouTube having quite strong opinions on how Afghanistan shouldn't be there, as the ICC rules that to enter the men's competitions, the cricket boards also have to run the women's team, which Afghanistan do not.
Yes, that's there's probably a fair argument there, isn't there? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about that to really comment on it, but yep.
I believe the exception was made when Afghanistan was made a full member, because they were on the way to producing a women's team, and they were supposedly taking steps to do so. But since the Taliban took over, that has stopped.
Right. And shorter ball here. That is absolutely smacked with a pull shot over the covers, and it runs out to the boundary, and we're going to have this one this time.
2 + 2 is on net! 2 + 2 is on net!
Through the absolutely full rotation of the arms there, no holding back. Absolutely smashed it.
Sorry, towards the leg side, not the offside. It's one of the things, having not grown up with cricket, I don't have all the fielding positions just instinctively in my mind from having been shoved there as a kid and being told to go there and stuff. So, my White Line Wireless was actually my introduction to cricket. I got called over to do the production job.
Oh, okay.
And had a microphone shoved into my hands, and
Since you're here.
and got so many cliche fines on the first night, I decided that I needed something to talk about, so I went and read a history book, and that actually started the whole trip to what is now my PhD. That one a little bit shorter, cuts back in, but easily defended.
What's the PhD in?
History.
Right,
History.
of cricket.
Yeah, so that's one of that was going to be the original thesis. That one, and I decided that one, there's just not an interesting academic story there, because it's got Anzac and all that tied up in it, and you'd have to get all critical about Anzac, and it's just not that interesting for me. So so my thesis is about how cricket was used to reproduce the power of the English Empire in the middle of the 19th century, and that one is driven backwards of points and it's running out towards the boundary, but the fielder comes around and stops that. A little bit of a misfield, and we're just seeing the divots that were left in the grass there, and someone hits the ball out there again, and could almost end up burying the ball. The hole is so deep that the fielder has left in the ground, and they in the end take 2. But I tell you what, in the slow-mo you can really see that sand in the outfield there.
Sandpit, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like he was on the beach getting ready to go for a surf. This one's delivered from almost off the pitch.
I think that's a drop catch.
And yes, and delivered almost off the pitch and knocked towards the extra cover fielder, who puts it down. Yes, that should have absolutely been taken.
Yeah.
Didn't get his body behind it. It's got both hands on it, but it's gone through the heel of both hands into the ground, that would have been starting to think game on
Sure
with the
would.
third wicker.
Sure would, yeah.
But
I mean, it's
instead
going
take a one.
It goes at an absolute rate of knots if you're fielding a point. There's no doubt about that, but there's a big chance.
Over the wicket now to Shanto, and that one hits the pads. Big appeal, and no, the umpire shakes his head.
Well, it's interesting because although it looked perhaps a little high, and I think that's probably what they'll decide, I also think it hit him on the back leg, which always increases your chances.
Yes, we're having a discussion. I don't know, I think the wicketkeeper's saying it's a bit too far. Oh no, and they have put the hands together with 1 second on the clock. That's going upstairs.
Yeah, I think they'll be lucky because I think it's either just outside the line, maybe just clipping, but sometimes you ride your luck.
Well, and the thing is that this is one of those things about reviews, isn't it? Is you could save them all up towards the end of the game, or you could get lucky now, and then you're back in the game.
Don't think there's much point in them maybe keeping their powder dry here.
No point saving it. No point saving it. So we're just having a look at the slow motion now. And just straightens up. It's
inside batch.
Off the bat.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did wonder whether the keeper was indicating he thought it hit the bat.
Yeah, and probably would have been umpire's call if it hadn't come off the bat and had to hit the pads.
Yeah, it's good call. Let's give Joe Wilson his due. Good call from him.
Yeah. But quite a significant impact. It's not like it was a nick either.
No, I was going to say,
you would have thought
surprised that no one said, mate, he's just...
Could you not hear that?
One.
Yeah.
That's right, two distinct sounds as well.
Yeah. So wasted review there from Afghanistan. And this one again, just a forward defensive shot, no run. And that's the end of the over. We'll check what's happening on Saturdays.
No, not... What is it?
And we are going to have a change. I'm going to jump out. Fourth is going to take my spot. It's going to stay on the socials. And we are having a Toward in for the first time this tournament, I believe. I will leave you. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thrilled to be on. As this game is quite nicely poised, actually, after those two Bangladesh wickets. Bangladesh on 39 for 2 after 9 overs, chasing 157 for victory. And it's really the sort of total that they should be chasing fairly comfortably. But having been a long-time watcher of Bangladesh cricket, I'm well used to them slipping up in even more comfortable positions than this.
Well, welcome, Tawid. Lovely to see you there. Whereabouts are you in the universe?
I'm in sunny South London, so
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be quite a different time zone there. Naveen ul Haq is coming into the attack for Afghanistan, and Miraz will be on strike. Yep, if they're going to... Can you see a way for Bangladesh throwing this one away, Taid? You said that you've seen it happen in the past.
Yeah, anything is possible with Bangladesh. Yeah, their batting is very frail. You would look to this pair, and obviously Shakib, I think, should be coming in next to kind of score the bulk of these runs. But if they lose from this position, yeah, it won't be.
It won't be pretty in the press, I imagine, in Bangladesh.
Absolutely not.
They scurry through for a quick single there. Miraz moves along to 18 off 19. He's doing his job. And we're just having a look at that drop catch. Oh, goodness me. See, I don't know whether, pardon my ignorance, whether Najib regularly fields at gully or point, but he rather looked as if he was taken by surprise there by the velocity at which it was coming at him.
He was no Mehdi Hasan.
No, indeed.
That could end up being a crucial drop if they'd have taken that wicket with Bangladesh 3 down, sort of inside the power play. They really would be in the game.
Yeah, there's usually pivot points in these games. That's looking like one of them. Najib looks a little bit like, for those who don't know him, I would say MS Dhoni. Would that be fair? Just a little visual reference for you. And in comes Naveen round the wicket. Straight ball, straight bat, dot ball.
Yeah, Shantu's probably been Bangladesh's most kind of reliable batter over the last sort of 12 months in white ball cricket. He's really kind of come on leaps and bounds. Normally comes in at number 3, but because they're kind of going with the extra batter today, they've got Mahmudullah Riyad, who's more of a batter than an all-rounder, coming in at number 8. So everyone's kind of been shunted down a place.
A little bit more depth in the batting. Naveen kicking up sand as he comes in, and Shanto angles the bat down to the man at Azmat, who's the man at mid-off. No run.
Actually, I'm just going to contradict what I said there. The reason, actually, why Shantu's coming in at number 3 is because Miraz is in at number 3. And Miraz he's an interesting one. He's batted everywhere from number 1 to number 8 in the last kind of 12 months. I still don't think they know exactly what his best place is, but he's such a versatile cricketer that he can bat at the top of the order. He has actually opened as well. So
you always sense sometimes the nicer guys in the team who say, sure, yeah, I'll do a job for you, rather than the ones who dig their heels in. That one strays down the leg side, Naveen, called a wide by Kumar Dharmshala is the other umpire today.
Correct.
Thank you. And, the wide. Moeen Ali would be the English equivalent, I guess, when a man who just gets shunted up and down the order.
But maybe
that's probably not a bad comparison. I'd say Miraz really is a genuine all-rounder. He can obviously sort of bowl his 10 overs. Did he get 1 wicket? I think he got a couple of wickets today. A real kind of big player for Bangladesh. In some respects, he's kind of the replacement for Shakib whenever he chooses to hang up his boots.
When that time comes to all of us in the end. Kit again kicking up the sand, strays onto leg stump again. They nudge it off. Shanto nudges it off his legs down to deep square leg. There is no one there, so the man comes around from long leg. They come through for the single. Come back for 2, in fact.
It's quite impressive by Mehdi that when he started playing for Bangladesh, he was batting at number 10. And he's just kind of worked his way up the order. Is that right, Tawhid?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, he did captain the under-19s, and so, when, I think at the very start of his career, he has batted at the top of the order. So I think he's someone, certainly in white ball cricket, who's more than capable of batting in the top.
Naveen strays even further onto leg stump, and it's clipped away by Shanto, but this time straight to the man at long leg, and they just come back for the single.
I guess a lot of kind of England cricket watchers will remember Mehdi Hassan Miraz from that 2016 tour of Bangladesh, where he really ripped through the England batting lineup to win that second test in Dhaka. I think he ended up top wicket taker in that series, in fact. Yes,
we do have some. Well, I'm not going to say they're dark memories or grim memories. I think it's just fantastic that it's going to happen sooner or later, isn't it? Everyone wins a test against another nation for the first time at some point. Good on them.
Yeah.
Okay, last ball of the over. Naveen in over the wicket this time, defended by Miraz. Dot ball at the end of the 10th over. Bangladesh 44 for 2. Ajit.
A little bit of ambivalence on Twitter, saying from Dave Wood saying that I'm here but listening in the background and not really invested, and Leah saying that my tweets will be rather infrequent today as it's a travel day. But also, we have an update from Hangzhou at the Asian Games final, where it's official, the final has been called off, and India, by virtue of having a higher seeding, win the gold medal, and Afghanistan winning the silver. And that is not an ideal way to award a gold medal, I don't think.
I don't think so. My apologies, I said Ajit for a moment, because I'm used to dealing with an Ajit on Guerrilla Cricket. It's Ajit, of course, sitting next to me here.
All right, no worries.
Okay, so in comes Rashid Khan, and a lot of hopes are pinned on him. He's got an average of 19 at this level of cricket, so this is a bit of a make or break moment in the game, would you say, Tawhid?
Yeah, definitely a crucial phase of the game. The power play is over, obviously. So yeah, extra man back outside the circle. So yeah, I think Rashid into the attack is going to be absolutely crucial to see how Bangladesh batters kind of face him.
In he comes, and first ball's played all the way down to long on, and just the single straight off the bat.
I mean, in many respects, Bangladesh, they don't really have to take many risks against Rashid, and I think that's probably how they're going to play him. They don't really have to sort of take him on as such.
Rashid Miraz just pushes it wide of the man cover, and they come through for one. They'll be quite happy to knock him around for 4 or 5 and over, one would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's probably the game plan. However, having said that, I'd love to see Bangladesh knock these runs off, sort of well inside 30 overs.
That would be good to see, and you imagine if the partnership develops, the confidence will rise. But for the moment, I think when that's a dot ball, when those first 2 wickets fell, I imagine the message went out, forget about net run rate for now, let's just concentrate on winning this bloody game.
Exactly, yeah.
Strays onto leg stump on this occasion, Rashid, and he's clipped off his legs, picked off down to the man at the sweeper on the boundary, and just comes through for 1.
But I guess, yeah, on the other side of the coin, if you're looking at boosting your net run rate, if you look at, there are no easy games in this World Cup, so this is probably going to be the one to do it in.
Yeah. That, I think, was the googly. And whether it was seen or not, I don't think it was red, but it was cut off the higher part of the bat and went through where a slip might have been, all the way for, if you'll just pardon me for 1 second, one of these. Oh, don't think I can hear that.
Yeah, not quite sure it would have carried, or it did carry to the lone slip there. But yeah.
The 50's up for Bangladesh. There's a big appeal. I don't really know why. It was turning and would have gone down leg side at the 11th over. Bangladesh 51 for 2. Still behind where Afghanistan were, but that will increasingly become irrelevant once Sentis add it.
Supun with a score update saying that South Africa and Bangladesh have almost identical scores, 45 for 1 for South Africa and at the time 46 for 2 for Bangladesh. South Africa currently still on 45 for 1. But I wanted to ask you, Tawhid, I'm surprised that you said that the Bangladeshi batting lineup was quite shallow because up next they have Shakib, Mushfiqur,
background crowd noise, is that?
and Riroy. Do you not rate them?
Not that I don't rate them. I'd say, yeah, they've got a long batting lineup today. If you look at them, they bat down to number 8 with Mahmudullah due to come in there. I'd say they've been very inconsistent. Certainly, their 2023 hasn't been great in ODI cricket. They lost bilateral series at home against England, against Afghanistan and against New Zealand. And they didn't have a great Asia Cup. And that's primarily, I would say, due to the batters.
Naveen starts his second over, digs it in short. Shanto swivels and gets it out to the man on the boundary there, who does a good job. Gets it in on the full, which all schoolboys are delighted by. If they can do that back to the wicketkeeper from the boundary, they'll have come through for 2.
But yeah, what I would say is each of those players that you mentioned there, on their day, they can all put in a match-winning performance. It's just, a case of, I suppose, everyone clicking at the same time, which hasn't really happened. So, I think a good partnership by these two is really crucial. They don't want to take this game too deep.
No collywobbles in the dressing room. Naveen digs that one in short wide of the off stump. Oh my goodness, he got a hand to it. The man down at third man, he didn't seem to put in quite as much effort as one might have hoped. He sort of put half a hand out, more in despair than anything. Actually, it hit his hand, so it definitely counts as a chance, and perhaps a slightly more athletic fielder might have made more ground. How did you read that one, David?
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? It was quite half-hearted in the end. he could have maybe even gone with two hands. He seemed to sort of cover the ground quite nicely. But yeah, just not a convincing attempt at all, really.
No, it was pretty poor stuff, to be honest. You would expect a non-associate nation third man fielder to have taken that one. Naveen ran the wicket again. Disgruntled. And fielder this time. Oh, well, he gets it right over the stumps. They come back for the second. In fact, they had to hurry in the end.
So that's two let-offs now for Mirage. Dropped a point and now sort of dropped to that sort of deep third position. So, yeah, a couple of big let-offs.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because when, as it were, more established coaches come into a team like Afghanistan, they often say, well, we can't fix everything overnight, but one thing we can fix is the fielding. And it was noticeable that Afghanistan's fielding is clearly bottom of that list of teams playing in this nation when they put up the caption. England at 86% and Afghanistan at 70%, for example, from top to bottom of catching efficiency. That's played off his legs by Shanto. Comes through for a single. So,
yeah, and sometimes it's not just catching, is it? It's that sort of ground fielding that can be absolutely crucial in these sort of in this format. Just sort of saving an extra sort of 10, 20 runs in the field. Absolutely vital in close games.
One of the most ancient cliches of all involving the words matches and catches come to mind. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to be out of pocket on the cliche box here, but it is true nonetheless. Okay, so Naveen doing a little bit of air traffic control there, signalling for a fielder. Move a few yards. We have a look at the light crimson or sun-kissed magenta pavilion in the background. Oh, a nice shot, but because it's a nice shot, it goes straight to the fielder who's placed to field it, the offside sweeper.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of his favourite sort of scoring areas, Mirage. Very strong on that sort of... It's actually a square drive that he plays very well. And, you know, when he's in good order, that ball goes whistling through that sort of backward point region.
I was going to ask you, and maybe this might take one or two balls to explain to viewers. So I might come on to this point. It's quite a big one in the next over, Tawhid, with your specialist knowledge of where Bangladesh are at. Last ball of the over from Naveen coming up. It's bowling to Shanto, who's 9 off 15. Comes round the wicket, digs it in short, and it's pulled, but straight to the man on the bounce, I hasten to add. At deep square, no suspicion of a chance there. At the end of the 12th over, Bangladesh 58 for 2. Anything happening out there, Adit?
No new tweets, but at the South Africa versus Sri Lanka game, South Africa 48 for 1 of 10 overs. The run rate is really dried up, and yeah, it's a good job by the Sri Lankan bowlers to restrain that run rate.
Could you hear that all right, Tawhid? I was just checking that was coming through the headphones. Okay, yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, that loud and clear.
What I was going to ask, Tawhid, was where would you place this Bangladesh team in the context of historical Bangladesh teams? Is this one of the stronger ones they've sent to a World Cup?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'd say if you look at the strengths of the team, as I was sort of saying before, I'm really impressed with their bowling, and you know that kind of sort of bears itself out today when they bowled out Afghanistan for 156. I'd say their bowling strength is probably their strongest that it's ever been, and I'm talking about not just on the spin front, but the quick bowling front as well.
Yeah. First ball from Rashid is clipped off his legs by Shanto, comes through for the single.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time where you can actually look at today they played 3 of the 5 quicks that are in their squad, and you know they all pose a genuine threat, and it's the first time that I can remember saying that about a Bangladesh pace bowling attack. And yeah, Alan Donald's obviously the pace bowling coach at the moment.
Still a good job, pushed out on this side, that sort of cover point region, so it's a single more or less every time. They might have to rethink this strategy, because Bangladesh can just pick off these singles at will, and before you know where they are, the target will be in sight.
Yeah, Alan Donald has done a good job. I was actually talking to him a couple of weeks ago.
Inside knowledge. Oh, and that's one's beaten Shanto. just gets past him. Don't know if the ball did any more than normal, but he certainly played down the wrong line.
Yeah, it seemed to sort of skid on a little bit, that one, didn't it? Googly, I think.
Yes, I think so. Rashid, big smile on Rashid Khan's face. Moral victory. Pushes that one a bit wider, and there's a diving stop, but a slight misfield. As a result, there is a single. Bangladesh moving.
So yeah, to come back to your question, I'd say it's probably the best, well-balanced looking team. The only thing, that concerns me is really the form of some of the batters.
And that one, I think, was the googly again, and there was some raised hands and some oohs and some ahs, but he managed to clamp down on it just in time. Wide eyes from Rashid.
I think you always need a certain amount of luck, don't you, when you play against Rashid, when you're picking some of these balls. And
Miraz launches himself at that one, and he's got all of it over the man at mid-off, and it's scootled away to the boundary for one of these.
2 + 2 is a number. 2 + 2 is a number.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a hack in the end, but actually, if you're going to try and take Rashid or to play Rashid, you're going to get a mystery ball at some point or another. So yeah, why not try and cash in when you can?
That's right, yeah. And through the kitchen sink at it. Just fortunate in a way that perhaps it wasn't another googly bowled wide, because I think he might have got an inside edge onto his stumps there, but it wasn't. That's the end of the over. 65 for 2. Sorry, was there anything happening at it?
Nothing on socials. I just wanted to ask Tawhid, what did you make about the pre-tournament, maybe pre-Asia Cup talk that this was Bangladesh's time to finally make the semi-finals? Do you think that was too fanciful?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I'd say there's a huge appetite and expectation from Bangladesh, well, not only their supporters, but actually from the Bangladesh media as well. So, yeah, there's certainly a huge expectation out there.
Okay, Nabi into the attack. Right arm round the wicket, spin bowler. And it's stroked out into the offside, a shy at the stumps, but nothing doing. They come through for the single.
But actually, just on that point, the coach, Hatra Singha, has really kind of tried to downplay any sort of talk of kind of reaching the semi-finals. I think he's really made a concerted effort to kind of talk down their chances, and I don't know how much that is around sort of taking pressure off his players. But to me, obviously I'm a Bangladesh fan, but to being realistic,
so Nabi bowls that one straight down to about at mid-off, dot board. Yep, carry on, Toby.
Yeah, I think they would have to sort of really win 6 games, wouldn't they, to really sort of guarantee
Sounds like
a semi-final berth.
Quite a tall order. Classical action from Nabi. Bowls for some of the English viewers out there a little like John Embury, I would say. Reminiscent at least. They come through for the single. Shanto back on strike.
Yes, the Middlesex legend.
He's actually out in Australia. He's actually out in Australia with Ian Beefy Bothan on the talking circuit at the moment. I declined the opportunity for an audience. I think I knew what I was going to get. So that's a dot ball. 67 for 2 now, Bangladesh.
Yeah. So just going back to that, it is a very tall order.
Pushed out on the offside, down to long off for a single by Miraz.
It's a very tall order, but if they get off to a winning start today, as they should, I mean, it's a huge game on Tuesday now, really, isn't it, for England? And personally, I can't wait for that game to start.
That should be good stuff. That's whipped off his legs by Miraz down to the man at long leg. They've come through for the single. And that's the end of the 14th over. Bangladesh 69 for 2 at the end of it. It's just 4 runs off it.
I suspect that this tweet from Dave Wood is stemming from the gorilla call, but he's saying that climate change is really playing into the hands of Iceland cricket. I assume that if the world's getting warmer, then there's more time of the year that I still can play cricket.
I suppose there's got to be some advantages. I suppose
Silver linings and everything.
Silver lining.
And I reckon, Tawhid, I might have to wait for your next stint to ask about the whole Tamim versus Shakib fiasco.
Well, I mean, yeah. How long
my
have you
word.
got?
Well, trouble is the spinners are on, so we've got more limited time. But that one's played out for a couple by Miraz. He moves on to 34. Do you want to just quickly give a PowerPoint summary slide on on what's happening
Oh,
there?
gosh. Yeah.
that might be quite a difficult question.
The quick summary is basically Tamim threw his toys out of the pram when he was asked to back down the order during the World Cup. He basically said no.
Rush it in again, dot ball. Yeah, carry on, Terry.
And as a result, he said, no, I'm not prepared to do that. You know, I've sort of made various sacrifices over the last few months. No one's really taken that into account.
Rush it in again. Another dot ball. Yeah, Terry.
So basically, as a result of that, he refused to take part in the World Cup, and then Shakib, in his wisdom, really decided to sort of stick the knife in rather with a 30-minute interview.
And that's played down to long on by Miraz for a single. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was a 30-minute interview with the Bangladesh Sports Channel, basically their equivalent of Sky Sports, I guess, where essentially there might have been a whiff of hypocrisy in some of the stuff that he was saying around the fact that, you know, if you're a really good team man, you could, you know, kind of play wherever the team wants you to play. But yeah, some of it might well have had a whiff of hypocrisy about it.
A real boycott-esque statement there. Whipped off his legs by Chanteau, but no run, straight to mid-wicket.
I'm getting the vibe of the Cristiano Ronaldo and Piers Morgan interview.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that Shakib was coming out with was actually kind of hilarious, basically.
That one's played down wide of the man at mid-on, down to long on. Oh, they come back for two. Ooh, had to hurry. But the throw was good scampering. The throw wasn't quite right, so no alarms. I think we might be having.
I guess what I mean by what Shakib was saying was absolutely hilarious was because of that kind of stench of hypocrisy. You know, if you look at Shakib's charge sheet, it's probably
Shakib has a
enough to fill I don't know, a few volumes worth of books, but that was quite casual actually. Looking at this from Rashid, I thought the run out there was definitely on.
Okay, we're going to have a little switch around. Russ is coming into my seat to see what we'll look at in half an hour.
So at the end of the 15th over, Bangladesh 2 for 75, having lost the wickets of Litton Das and Tanzil Hassan. As we see a replay of that very languid attempt at a flick on by Rashid Khan. Mohammad Nabi comes in for his second over, bowling to Mehdi Hassan Miraz, who tucks it into the leg side for a single.
Thank you, Did. And thank you, Tawin. We'll see you in half an hour, I think. I think that's what's on the schedule.
Right. Yeah, see you later.
Nabi's in again. He's bowling round the wicket to the left-handed player, and he's just defending straight back down the pitch. Fascinating player. Nabi.
Former captain, isn't he?
Former captain. I think he had a couple of stints at captain. As is the way. So it looks innocuous, but he almost got that one through the player. He's cut that off stump. It was the arm ball. He's got a big underneath edge that just bounced away to third man for a single. Takes the score to 2 for 76. But that was very, very close.
That was an extremely late cut, if we would be charitable.
Now he's over the wicket to the right-handed Mahidi, and it's played out to square leg. There's no run.
And speaking of former captains, I was looking this up. In the past couple of years, Bangladesh has had 5 ODI captains.
that all? How many were permanent, though?
3.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad. This ball is played out to mid-on, and they're going to take a single. Takes the score to 2 for 77. Partnership 50 or 56 balls. Bangladesh is still moving along at a pretty rapid rate. They're definitely going to get this target pretty quickly if they can keep their wickets in hand. This one's into the pads of Shanto, and he's going to get a single around the corner. Takes the score to 2 for 78. End of the over. 16 overs gone. Anth's in the box doing some socials for us. What do we got?
Nothing at the moment, but just to update, South Africa are now 75 for 1 on the 13th over, but nothing on the socials.
They picked the run rate back up, looks like. I think Rassi van der Dussen had a big over a couple of overs ago, hitting Dharmshala Silva for 16.
Were you surprised that they took so long to really get Rashid Khan into the attack?
Yeah,
and Nabi for that matter as well.
I would have thought that Rashid Khan could have been a candidate to open the bowling.
Yeah, get some wickets.
Yeah.
I mean, they've only got, you're defending such a tiny total. He's not going to bowl his 10 overs, presumably, unless they bowl him out now. And even then, they've given him 50 runs before he came to play. Not that he's bowling actually particularly well in terms of getting the wickets. So far, 3 overs for 19, but he's the wild card, you'd think.
Yeah. And it's not like they weren't setting attacking fields. They had 2 slips to start off with. So why not have your most attacking strike bowler to start off?
Exactly right. I have a suspicion we're in a drinks break, so I'm just going to give it the old jingle. Maybe I'll play a sting. You haven't heard a sting in a while. How about that one?
White Line Wireless. More of this.
Maybe we should call Alistair Cook the Crowbar, one of the great levers.
And less of this.
Oh! Don't you love that?
I can't promise we won't go, don't you love that during this call, but that's an accurate description of White Line Wireless.
But by my count, we haven't said the phrase long levers once. Until I just did.
Oh no! I think I mentioned it yesterday when you're doing the Dutch commentary. It's an accurate description of a lot of those tall Dutch players.
Yeah, it's a cliche jargon yesterday for the levers.
Also, I wanted to ask you, Russ, is the White Line Wireless jingle available online anywhere?
I don't think so.
Because I think it should be.
Well, all of my podcasts are available on my website, anthonykondon.com, and it's at the start of each of those. So if you really do need a hit, you can head there and get it.
And you can look at the YouTube clips from the Women's Ashes, where most of the jingles were played at various points. Quite a few of the stings. So if you want to listen to the rain delay, I think that's in there for 3 or 4 hours of content. And a lot of cat content too. So zoom into the lunch break.
The internet is for cats.
It's for cats. The Box of Dreams, of course, brought to you by the Sugar and Spice Cat Rescue. Rashid Khan is continuing into his 4th over. He's going to be bowling to Shanto.
Najmul Hussain Shanto is one of the more recent stand-in captains. He was one of the 5 who I was referring to. I suppose Rashid Khan is a former captain, right?
Look, most subcontinental nations, everyone's a former captain, aren't they? Here's Rashid Khan's short of a length, and it zooms through a little bit outside off stump. He's managed to get it past the fielder at mid-on, and they'll squeeze through for a single. Goes 2 to 78.
How many runs do you think would have been a defendable total for Afghanistan?
I mean, the way they're bowling, 250s, 260. Rashid Khan, this one's just short of a length, and he's played it off the back foot through the vacant cover region. So they'll sneak through for a single, takes the score on to 2 for 80.
Because it doesn't look like the easiest of pitches.
No, and I think the spinners are doing relatively well, and it's not a particularly fast outfield. So that kind of 250, 260 is probably pretty defendable, but they're so far off that it's really kind of hard to tell. So Rashid Khan again to Shanto. Should have lengthened his off the back foot, straight back down the pitch. To Rashid. Shanto's on to 19 now. Rez on 38. 39 balls, doing very well. Here's Rashid Khan. This is widely off stump and is driven very nicely through mid-off. They'll sweep it down there. We'll just keep that to 1. Take the score on to 81. Still just 2 down.
There was a lot made of the Afghanistan spin bowling lineup ahead of the tournament, and how that would be the major source of headaches for the bigger teams.
Here's Rashid Khan, and this is a full ball on off stump. He's chipped it down through mid-off. He hasn't got a full piece of it, and it's just going to be dribble out to Rahmat there, who fields it. Another single, 2 for 82.
That would have gone down the throat of a conventional mid-off.
Well, yeah, and look, when you're defending a total this big, what's the point of having a spread field? They're quite happy to milk Rashid for 4 and over. This one's full, and he's driving him through deep point. They'll take another single out there. It's going to be 5 off this over. It scores 2 for 83 off 17.
Anth, anything on socials?
It's just a disdainful nod. No one wants to talk to us. There's another game on. We could just read out tweets that are going to the other Guerrilla Cricket mob if there are any, but let's not do that. Just confuse everybody.
There's some love for Dunit Wilalage on the tweets.
No, I'm trying to generate some content, but not a whole lot going on. Yeah.
Generate some content, that could mean many things there. Nubby's going to continue. 2 overs for 8 so far. It's the kind of that, we're in that, well, they need 74 runs from 33 overs, so it's what, 2 and over. So it's, if Bangladesh could, they'll do this in 17 overs basically, the way they're going. Afghanistan needs to change something really quickly. This one from Nabi's full is driven straight back to him. No run.
Is that a first mullet we've seen on screen?
I think it is. It looks like an Australian somehow. I don't know why. I think it might be the Crocs. It could be the mullet.
A mullet's a thing in England? I feel like no.
Not to the same extent, Forthy says from the back of the box. A lot of AFL-inspired mullets
or maybe
around
Kiwi.
Melbourne.
I can imagine Kiwis with mullets, not English people.
He's probably in a couple of short covers, so they are trying to change something, trying to make them drive. This one's full, and he's on the back foot. Played that very late, but it only goes to mid-wicket. There's no run.
That line's maybe a little bit too straight if the plan was to make Shanto drive.
Yeah, at least they're trying to bring the field in. There's no point just letting them milk him. This one's full, and he's just kind of almost like a hockey shot, wide of off stump, and flipped it with his wrists out to mid-on, but it doesn't get past the fielder there. So another dot ball. Nabby's halfway to a maiden. This one's full on the stumps. He's just pretty nearly offside. It's going to get past the cover region, so he's going to pick up a single to point. Score goes on 2 for 84.
As the ball was bouncing there, and there was that big puff of, I think it was sand, right? Is that to dry the surface, or what do you reckon?
There's a few reasons why he puts sand on the ground. Nabby's full and it's into the pads, but he can't get it past the mid-wicket. They're probably just top dressing it to try and get the grass to grow better, which just means it's going to be slow until the grass actually grows. Nabby's full and he's on the back foot, playing it straight back to him. 1 run off that over, much better one for Afghanistan, building a little bit of pressure. 2 for 84 for 18. Anth, anything?
No tweets coming in as of yet, so what I've done instead is I've gone and found a tweet from CricViz to give us I'd like some comments on this statistic. Now, Bangladesh and Afghanistan have approached the first 10 overs of this game contrastingly. Bangladesh have shown more intent to rotate, playing 27% rotating shots compared to Afghanistan's 9%.
What's a rotating shot?
That little nerdle off the pads we've spent the last 10 overs watching. This is Rashid Khan. He bowls the googly, beats the outside edge, but the left-hander Shanto, he's got the advantage that the googly is not going to bowl him as it does for so many right-handed players. So it goes straight through to the keeper. There's something... Well, I'll wait for this ball from Rashid Khan. This one's full, and he's getting a bit of an outside edge, but he's managed to play it through the cover region out to the sweeper from deep point, so they take the score on at 2 for 85. I find that a lot of Afghan players are not very good at that, at just keeping the score ticking, so they play a lot of attacking shots to make up for it, to keep the scoreboard going, but they're riskier, and that's why they lose a lot of wickets. This Rashid Khan, this is another googly, this time to the right-hander. Mraz keeps it out though, he played it very well. Straight back down the wicket, no run.
Yeah, oftentimes the difference between some of the emerging teams and the more established teams isn't the more extravagant moves. It's your running between wickets and fielding.
So Rashid Khan again full. He's got that off a bit of the outside edge, but it's just going to run safely through the point region for a single. Score goes on to 2 for 86. Mraz to 40.
And as you say, the ability to rotate the strike, where turning 2/3 of balls into singles gets you 4 and over.
Yeah, that's right. And you need a level of skill to be able to do that to a ball that maybe they've set a fielder to try and stop you from being able to do that. So you've got to play a slightly within. Khan again with the googly. He's coming around the wicket this time, and it's beaten the outside edge, but no wicket. He's found his lines, Rashid. Very, very dangerous bowler. Shanto facing up again. Last ball of the over, and this one is off the outside edge this time. Another googly by the looks, but it's just rolled out to the short fine leg. No run. 2 off that over. So a couple of tight overs from Afghanistan, trying to get that pressure higher. See if they can induce a mistake from Bangladesh, but they're 2 for 86 off 19.
Do you have any engagement on your content, Anth?
No, not a lot going on the Twitter at the moment. It's with the Sri Lanka South Africa game going on. A lot of I just got a notification. Nothing good there. Just everyone agreeing that I think it's going to be an early night for us here.
I feel like I should have been cliche jarred twice for engagement on content.
Here's Nabi back into the attack, and he's played that just short of a length, and Mraz has punched it through mid-on. It's going to run away for another single.
More of a bullshit word than cliche. Engagement on content. It's more bullshit than...
It can be both.
In the Don Watson sense of bullshit words, which is, management speak and the like.
I'll take that as a learning.
Take that on board and synergise it.
Nabi's around the wicket into Mraz, and it's just defended out onto the onside through mid-wicket. They take a single.
Your point about rotating strike was something that I was really frustrated by when I was keeping a keen eye on the women's T20 EAP qualifiers.
His Nabit's full and defended by Mraz to the short mid-wicket, so no run.
As a supporter of Indonesian cricket, and the Indonesians had a reasonable chance of qualifying, but that was one where they were falling down.
It's ball for Nabi, short of length. Mraz punches back to Nabi, so no run.
There was definitely a winnable game versus Vanuatu, but lost too many wickets early on and couldn't rotate the strike.
Nabi's bowled this one. Mraz has stepped across his stumps, and it's almost taken leg stump as it's spun away. Beats the keeper as well, so they're going to take 2 byes. Hasn't been given a wide. This is the movement before the ball's bowled.
Was that just more spin than expected?
No, I think it was just he stepped across the stumps, and then because it was down leg side, he was not really kind of lined up to play it, and then just missed it. So takes the score to 90 for 2. Nabi full in the last ball of the over, and it's going to be pushed down to deep mid-on for another single. 5 off the over, 2 for 91 off 20.
I think there continues to be more tweets about the South Africa game, which is at 90 for 1 of 15.2 overs. Rassie van der Dussen on 42 of 43. Quinton de Kock 38 of 44. Going at a run rate of 5.86.
Mark has written a tweet about highlights, which is obviously something coming up on the other game around Bear, but I'm just looking at our highlights for the past 15 15, 20 minutes, and it's just because there's all singles and no boundaries. I've got nothing to report, so it's going to be a giant gap in the highlights program today, where it's basically just yet another nerdled single.
We've got Blaze and the Twink on the screen at the moment. So we do have one tweet from Muttley, who's back as he was off eating sausages. Not sure which one of us he's actually listening to at the moment, but congratulations on the breakfast sausages, Muttley.
You mean all that chat about what Angel Delight isn't going to make the highlights reel?
Well, I haven't listed it in the highlights, but that doesn't mean it won't make it. It might go hunting. Rashid Khan's back into the attack, 6 over, and this one's outside of stump and pushed nicely through the point region. They'll get a single.
This kind of feels like a test match right now that's kind of just drifting into existence.
Yeah, except the run scoring is still like 4 and over. In theory, Afghanistan, actually, we're looking at the after 20 overs, Afghanistan were 96 for 2 and Bangladesh are 92 for 2, but we know what's happened after that. Rashid Khan full, and it's defended on the back foot, but there's no one at mid-on, so they're going to get a single.
Yeah, the only difference was that there weren't any solid partnerships after the loss of the second wicket.
No, they lost 9 for 44. Which, yes. Rashid Khan, this one's into the pads. It's turned around the corner, but the fine leg's round there quickly, and they managed to stop the single happening. So Miraz will stay on strike. Still remains 2 for 93. And of course, the difference here is that Bangladesh know that they don't need to lose a bunch of wickets to try and set a real target because they've got a really small one. So it becomes very easy for them just to, nurdle it around and take what they're given. This one's full and defended by Miraz out to cover.
There was just a graphic saying that Rashid Khan bowled 46% googlies. No wonder how that compares to modern wrist spinners.
Yeah, it's a huge part of his arsenal. This one's full, and I think another googly, but defended on the back foot by Miraz, who's been picking it, which is useful.
Well, if 1 in 2 balls are googlies, then...
Well, essentially, yeah, he's a spinner who bowls it in both directions. He's coming around the wicket this time to Miraz, which is a bit of a change. It's very full and it's played very well through the covers. The sweeper's going to cut it off, but they'll get at least 2, and they'll stop there. That'll be 2 for 95 at the end of the 21st over. Rashid Khan, 6 overs for 30. Miraz moves his way up to 47 off 54 balls, still scoring pretty quickly. Shento's 25 off 41. Not as quick, doesn't need to be. Anth.
In the absence of social media, I've gone searching for just some information about Dharmshala. It's where the Tibetan government in exile is located, as well as the home of the Gurkha regiment.
Uh-huh. Wait, aren't they Nepalese?
Yes, but this is where they're stationed.
Oh.
This is where they were stationed at least until the Second World War.
Oh, right, okay.
Wasn't really...
They're not still stationed there.
I'll check that.
We looked that up. Nabi's coming around the wicket to Shento. He's coming down the pitch 2 steps and defends it back down the pitch.
I feel like the Bangladeshi batters now are being a little bit more sensible after a few stray shots.
Yes, this one's, very sensibly played. It's on short of a length and he's defending it into the onside. The keeper runs down quickly, keeps it a run from being scored. Nabi, as he often is very tight, but not a lot to play with. This one's down the leg side. He's going to give him a wide, I think. Takes the score to 96.
I was just looking up how...
So at independence, the Gurkha regiments were split between the British Army and the Indian Army.
Oh, interesting. Yes. There we go. Here's Shanto down the pitch to Nabi, and it's a risky shot. There's a player dived away at cover, but it's along the ground for the most part. Rashid Khan couldn't get to it. They'll get a single because there was a deep mid-off.
I was just looking up how many overs it took for New Zealand to chase down England's turtle and how quickly Bangladesh need to chase to get a better net run rate.
This one's just short on a length from Nabi into the pads, but he stepped across the stumps, Miraz, and plays it round the corner. He gets a single. Nabi's got his hands on his head. He thought that was through. I was there for an LBW. He was not.
That seemed a little optimistic.
Well, you never know. at least they've taken a couple of risks. So at least Naby's sort of getting them to do things that they might not want to do. This one's defended out to the mid-wicket region.
It looks like to top the table, Bangladesh need to chase down 157 before the 35th over.
Last ball the over to Shanto, and it's just on a length and it defends out to point, but they'll take a single. Score goes 2 for 99 off 22 overs.
Muttley is listening to us. So listening to the Afghan Bangladesh game. I'm still half asleep. YouTube didn't tell me the other game was on. So if he's wondering why it wasn't being covered.
Who needs it?
But he's going to keep listening to us before switching over. You may as well, because this one isn't going to... You'll still get to see the majority of the other game if you listen to this one.
Yeah.
This innings will be over well before the South African innings will be.
Well, speaking of New Zealand's chase, I think if you count back from when the end of that innings ended, how many overs it took them to chase the score of 156, I suspect it was less than 10. Because they were flying at the end. I turned it off, they had 120 to win off 20